Organize your C code like a pro, using header files and functions necessary for learning programming. Have you ever wondered how professional C programmers organize their code? In this video, you'll learn how to write functions in a separate file, use header files, and connect everything using hashtag include. Let's get it started. Number one, why we use separate files for functions in larger projects. In larger projects, keeping all the code in a single file becomes messy and hard to manage. By organizing functions into separate .c files and using header files to declare them, we improve readability, reusability, and teamwork. Each file can focus on one task or one module, like math operations, input output handling, or communication protocols, making the code easier to maintain and debug. It also it also allows multiple developers to work on different parts of the project at the same time without conflicts. Number two, the purpose of header files. Header files in C are used to declare the function, constant, macros, and data types that can be shared across multiple .c files. They act as a bridge between files, allowing one .c file to use functions or variables defined in another. By placing function prototypes in a header file, we ensure the compiler knows about those functions before they are called. Main.c doesn't directly know what inside .c file. Main.c doesn't directly know what's inside .c file. Instead, it includes header file which provide the prototype of functions. During compilation, the linker connects main.c files so the function works correctly. This helps organize the code better, avoid repetition, and make the larger programs easier to manage and scale. Number three, what hashtag include actually does. The hashtag include directive in C tells the preprocessor to copy the contents of another file in the current file before compilation begins. When you write hashtag include mathutils.h, it's as if you are pasting the entire content of that header file into your .c file at that exact location. This allows you this allows your code to access function prototypes, macros, or global variables defined in the included file. It's a powerful way to organize and reuse code across different parts of your program. Project file structure. We organize all our source and header file main.c, math underline utils.c, and math underline utils.h within a single src directory for simplicity. Explanation. Math underline utils.h contains function declarations or prototypes. Main.c includes math underline utils.h to use the function. Math underline utils.c includes math underline utils.h and contains the actual function definition. Both main.c and math underline utils.c are compiled and linked together to create the function executable. Writing the function in a C file, math underline utils.c. In this file, we define the actual body of the function. Let's say we want a function that adds two integers. We write it like this. We include we include the header file math underline utils.h at the top so the compiler knows the function's declaration. Then we define the function add, which takes two integers as parameters and returns their sum. This is the actual implementation and it's written in the C file, not in the header. This approach keeps the logic of functions separate from the main program and makes your code more organized and modular. Writing the function prototype in a header file, math underline utils.h. In this file, we declare the function, meaning we tell the compiler about the function's name, return type, and parameters before it's used anywhere else in the project. Here's what the header file looks like. The line int at int a int b is called function prototype. It tells the compiler that the function named at existed at exit take two integers and returns an integers. It tells the compiler that a function named add exists, takes two integers, and returns an integer. The line if and if define and if are called include guards. They prevent the file from being included more than once during compilation, which can cause errors. We don't write the function body here, only the declaration. Only the declaration. This header file can now be included in any .c file that wants to use the add function such as main.c. How to declare multiple functions in the same header file? You just list all function prototypes one after another inside the include guards. Here's an example. Does the name of include guards matter? In functionality, the compiler only cares that the macro is unique within your project. It doesn't matter what the name is as long as it's consistent between if and if, define and end if. In practice, the name should be unique to avoid conflicts with macros from other files or libraries. A common naming convention is file name underline h or better project name underline file name underline h. Using the function in main.c file with hashtag include. Why we use hashtag include double quote math underline utils.h instead of angle brackets. In C, we use double quotes for including user-defined header files. For including user-defined header files like math underline utils.h. And we use angle brackets for standard library headers like stdioh or stdlib.h. How it works. Hashtag include double quote file.h. First, looks in the current project directory like src folder. Then search system path if not found. But hashtag include angle bracket file.h only searches the system include path. For example, compilers building directories. If you use angle brackets for your own header files, the compiler might not find them, especially if they are in your project folder and not installed as system headers. Reminder, in a project, all .c files need to be compiled together. Compiling and running the program by Eclipse IDE. In this exercise, we will keep working on the same project from the previous tutorial, which you can also find its code on GitHub. But this time, we're going to take it one step further and rewrite it in a modular way, using both header files and C files. Inside the src folder, I'll create two new files. Func underline pro.c and func underline pro.h. Don't worry about the include cards, the IDE will generate them automatically. Next, I'll copy the function prototype into the header file, and then I'll move the actual function definition into the .c file. In our main in an in our main.c, we simply need to include the header we just created using double quotes. But here's an important note. If your function uses any libraries, you have to include those libraries inside the .c file where the function is defined. Otherwise, the compiler will throw an error. After setting everything, after setting everything up, we'll compile the project so that all the files are linked together, and then we'll start debugging. Using the step into and step over commands, we will run the program line by line. You'll notice that when the function is called from main.c, the IDE automatically opens the .c file where the function is written and executes it step by step. In this example, we have two functions inside main.c. The first one will be executed with a step into, and the second one with a step over. Now you know how to write cleaner and more modular C code using separate files and header files. In the next videos, we will dive deeper into the low-level programming, especially focusing on how the return statement works and different return types used in the function. To stay updated with our upcoming videos and always find us easily on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything.